My name is Jimmy, and I need to tell you about the Thanksgiving that changed everything. I was 28 years old, still living in my childhood home in the suburbs of Detroit, taking care of my father after Mom passed 3 years earlier. Cancer took her fast 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. Dad never really recovered. None of us did, I guess, but I was the one who stayed. My older brother Marcus moved to Seattle right after college and only came back twice a year if we were lucky. My sister Vanessa lived 40 minutes away in Birmingham with her surgeon husband and their two perfect kids, but she treated the distance like an ocean. They had busy lives, important lives, and I understood that. Or at least, I told myself I did. I worked remotely as a freelance graphic designer, which gave me the flexibility to be there when Dad needed his medications, when he had doctor's appointments, when he woke up at 3 in the morning calling for Mom. I'd put my life on pause, turned down a job offer in Chicago, ended a relationship because my girlfriend couldn't understand why I wouldn't just put him in a home. But he was my father, and someone had to stay. That Thanksgiving morning started like every other holiday since Mom died, with me doing everything. I was up at 6, prepping the turkey, peeling potatoes, chopping vegetables for the green bean casserole Mom used to make. Dad sat in his recliner watching the parade, offering commentary but no help. At 72, he was still strong enough to do plenty, but grief had made him passive, dependent, or maybe I'd enabled that. I don't know anymore. Marcus arrived around noon with a bottle of wine and apologies about the traffic. Vanessa showed up an hour later with her family, her arms empty except for her designer purse. We stopped and ate on the way, she announced. The kids were starving. She said it like it was my fault for scheduling dinner at 3. I swallowed the irritation and went back to the kitchen. The house smelled like Mom's Thanksgiving's rosemary and sage, butter and brown sugar, that particular warmth that only comes from a meal made with your whole body and heart. I'd been cooking for 7 hours. My back ached, my feet throbbed, but I'd made everything just right. Exactly how Mom used to do it, because that's what Dad needed, what we all needed, even if they didn't know it. I was setting the table when it happened. The dining room table was Mom's pride, a solid oak piece she'd refinished herself, big enough for 10 people. I'd already laid out her good china, the set with the tiny blue flowers around the rim that she only used for holidays. I was folding napkins, the fancy way she taught me, when I heard Dad's voice from the living room. "Hey, look at this loser." I glanced up. He was holding his phone, pointing it at me through the doorway. "Recording. Look at this loser," he said again, louder this time, his voice carrying that particular tone, the one that was supposed to be joking but had edges. "She was always a servant, just like her mother." Vanessa laughed. A bright, sharp sound. "Oh my God, Dad. Stop." But she was smiling when she said it. So was Marcus. He didn't even look up from his own phone. "Post it," Vanessa said. "That's hilarious." My hands froze on the napkin I was folding. I could feel my face getting hot. That particular flush that starts at your chest and works its way up. "Dad, what are you doing?" "Just having some fun, sweetheart." He was still recording, still smiling, that smile that wasn't really a smile. "You're so serious all the time. Learn to take a joke. Can you please not post that?" "Already did." He turned the phone around to show me. Facebook. Posted to his timeline. Public. The caption exactly what he'd said. "Look at this loser. She was always a servant." I could see myself in the thumbnail, bent over the table, my hair falling out of its ponytail, wearing the old Michigan State sweatshirt I'd thrown on that morning because I knew I'd be cooking all day and it would get dirty anyway. I looked tired. I looked exactly like what he'd called me. Vanessa was already commenting. "Oh my God, Dad." Something cracked inside my chest. Not broke, cracked. Like ice on a lake when the temperature shifts. "Take it down," I said quietly. "Oh, come on." Dad waved his hand dismissively. "It's just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." "I'm not being sensitive. You just called me a loser and posted it online. Take it down." "Jesus Christ, Jimmy." Marcus finally looked up. "It's not that serious. He's just playing around." "Yeah," Vanessa added. "You're kind of overreacting." I looked at the three of them, my father in his recliner, my brother on the couch, My sister perched on the armchair with her wine glass. All of them looking at me like I was the problem. Like I was the one being unreasonable. Behind them, through the doorway, I could see the kitchen. Every surface covered with dishes I'd cooked. The turkey I'd gotten up early to prep. The pies cooling on the counter. 7 hours of work. 3 years of sacrifice. And they were laughing at me. Take it down, I said one more time. Dad shrugged. Don't know how. Already got 12 likes anyway. People think it's funny. That's when I felt it, that moment when you realize you've reached the end of something. Not the end of your patience or your rope, but the end of your willingness to pretend that this is okay, that you're okay, that any of this is normal or acceptable or love. I set down the napkin I'd been folding. You know what? My voice came out steady, calm. I'm done. Oh. Here we go. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Drama queen. I walked into the kitchen and turned off the stove. Took the turkey out of the oven and set it on the counter, still in the roasting pan. Turned off all the burners. Grabbed my keys and my jacket from the hook by the door. Jimmy, what are you doing? Dad's voice had shifted. Less amused now. More uncertain. I'm leaving. You can't leave. Dinner's ready. Then you can serve it. I was pulling on my jacket. My hands were shaking, but my voice wasn't. You all know where the plates are. Where the silverware is. How to carve a turkey. You're adults. Figure it out. This is ridiculous. Marcus stood up. You're really going to ruin Thanksgiving over a joke? I stopped at the door and turned around. I didn't ruin Thanksgiving. I've spent the last 3 years making sure there was a Thanksgiving. I've been here every single day while you two built your lives somewhere else. I gave up my job, my relationship, my entire life to take care of Dad after Mom died. And you know what? I did it willingly. I did it out of love. But I will not stand here and let you treat me like a servant. Like a joke. Like I'm less than you because I chose to stay. Vanessa's face had gone pale. Jimmy, post that on Facebook, I said. Then I walked out. I drove for 2 hours with no destination in mind. Just drove. Through neighborhoods strung with Christmas lights even though it was still November. Past closed stores and empty parking lots. I ended up at a rest stop off I-75, sitting in my car in the dark, shaking. My phone was exploding. Texts from Marcus. Voicemails from Dad. But nothing from Vanessa. I turned it off. I didn't go home that night. I got a motel room at a Holiday Inn Express and sat on the edge of the bed watching TV without seeing it. Eating vending machine Doritos for Thanksgiving dinner, and trying to figure out what came next. I'd burned it down, walked away from everything, and I felt free. Terrified, but free. Drop your city in the comments, let's see how far this story travels. I stayed in that motel for 3 days. On Friday morning, I woke up to find my phone, which I'd finally turned back on, completely blown up. But not with the messages I expected. There were texts from numbers I didn't recognize. Facebook friend requests from strangers. An email from someone claiming to be a local news producer. And one text from Vanessa that just said, "We need to talk now." I ignored all of it and went to get coffee from the lobby. When I came back, there was a voicemail from my cousin Teresa, who I hadn't talked to in over a year. Jimmy. Oh my God. I just saw what Vanessa posted. I'm so sorry. Call me if you need anything. Anything. Vanessa posted something? My stomach dropped. I opened Facebook. The first thing I saw was Dad's post from Thanksgiving, still up, now with over 300 reactions and almost 200 comments. But that wasn't what Teresa was talking about. Vanessa had written something. Posted it the day after Thanksgiving. And it had been shared over 2,000 times. The post was long. I had to read it twice to believe it was real. I need to tell you all something. And I'm not proud of it. On Thanksgiving, my dad made a joke about my younger sibling, Jimmy. He called them a loser and a servant, recorded it without permission, and posted it online. We laughed. I commented with laughing emojis. What you don't know is that Jimmy has spent the last 3 years taking care of our father after our mother passed away. Jimmy gave up a career opportunity in Chicago. Jimmy ended a serious relationship because their partner didn't understand why family came first. Jimmy wakes up at 1 a.m. when Dad has nightmares. Jimmy manages all his medications, drives him to every appointment, cooks every meal, and never asks for help. My brother Marcus and I visit a few times a year and act like that's enough. We have excuses: our jobs, our families, the distance. But the truth is, we left Jimmy to carry everything alone because it was easier for us. On Thanksgiving, Jimmy spent 7 hours cooking a meal from scratch to honor our mother's memory and make our dad happy. And we thanked them by mocking them, by turning their service and sacrifice into entertainment. When Jimmy asked Dad to take down the post, we told them they were overreacting, that they couldn't take a joke, that they were being dramatic. So Jimmy left, walked out on Thanksgiving dinner, and we sat there feeling sorry for ourselves, like we were the victims. But here's what I realized sitting at that table, looking at all the food Jimmy made, the china Jimmy set out, the napkins Jimmy folded. We are not the victims. We are the holes. Jimmy left because we gave them no choice. Because you can only be disrespected by the people you love so many times before you have to choose yourself. I'm writing this because my father refuses to take down his post. He says Jimmy is overreacting, that we should all just get over it. But I'm done protecting him. I'm done protecting myself. If you follow my dad on Facebook, you've probably seen his post. You might have even laughed at it like I did. But I'm asking you to really look at what it shows. Someone who has given up everything to care for their family, being mocked by that family for the crime of loving us too much. Jimmy, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. I'm so desperately sorry. You deserved better from all of us, and especially from me. You were never a servant. You were the only one who understood what family actually means. Dad, if you're reading this, take down the damn post. And if you can't do that, then you need to take a hard look at why your ego is more important than your child's dignity. To everyone else, the next time you see someone sacrificing for their family, maybe don't laugh. Maybe say thank you instead. I read it 3 times. Then I read the comments. There were hundreds of them. People sharing their own stories about being the family caregiver. People calling out my dad. People praising Vanessa for her honesty. People asking how they could help me. It was overwhelming. And underneath the shock and the validation and the weird exposure of having my life debated by strangers, I felt something else. I felt seen. My phone rang. Vanessa. I answered. Don't hang up, she said immediately. Please. I'm not going to hang up. I'm sorry. Her voice cracked. I'm so fucking sorry, Jimmy. I sat there after you left and I helped Dad carve the turkey and I kept thinking about Mom, about how disappointed she'd be in us, in me. I didn't say anything. Couldn't. You've been doing everything, she continued. Everything. And we just took it for granted. I took it for granted. I told myself that you were fine, that you wanted to do it, that you were better at this stuff than me. But the truth is I was just relieved I didn't have to do it. That I could have my perfect life and still feel like a good daughter because you were handling it. Vanessa, I wrote that post because Dad refused to apologize. He kept saying you were too sensitive, that she'd come back when you calmed down. And I couldn't let that stand. I couldn't let him make you the villain when you've been the only hero in this story. I pressed my palm against my eyes. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. You shouldn't have had to defend yourself. We should have defended you from the start. We talked for an hour. She cried. I cried. She told me that Marcus had called her after seeing the post, that he was processing but wanted to talk to me. That Dad was furious with her for airing family business online, but that she didn't care anymore. Things need to change, she said. Marcus and I are going to start actually helping. Real help, not just visiting. We're going to figure out a care schedule so you're not doing this alone anymore. Vanessa, I don't know if I'm coming back. Silence. Then, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. But here's the thing about family, about love, about sacrifice. It's never as simple as leaving or staying. It's never as clean as burning it all down or swallowing your pain. After I hung up with Vanessa, I sat in that motel room and thought about Mom, about the last thing she said to me, 2 days before she died. I'd been sleeping in a chair next to her hospital bed, and I woke up to find her watching me. Jimmy, she whispered. My sweet Jimmy. I'm here, Mom. You're going to take care of him. Of course I am. But baby. She reached for my hand. Her grip was so weak. Don't forget to take care of you too. Promise me. I'd promised. But I hadn't kept that promise. I'd given everything and called it love. But maybe love isn't supposed to erase you. Maybe love is supposed to make room for everyone, including yourself. I checked out of the motel on Sunday, but I didn't go home to Dad's house. I went to my friend Ryan's apartment in Ferndale. He'd been texting me since Friday, offering his couch, his spare room, whatever I needed. I took him up on it. I spent the next week figuring things out. I called Dad, told him I loved him but that things had to change, that I would help him, but not at the expense of my own life, that if he wanted me involved, he needed to treat me with respect, and that the Facebook post had to come down, or I was done. He took it down. Finally, after Vanessa's post had been shared over 5,000 times and people started commenting on his directly, calling him out. He didn't apologize, not really. He said, "I didn't mean anything by it," which is what people say when they don't want to admit they hurt you. But he took it down. And that was something. Marcus flew back to Detroit that weekend. We met at a coffee shop, and he actually apologized. Not a defensive, half-hearted apology, but a real one. "I should have stayed," he said, "or at least come back more. I left you with everything because it was easier. I'm sorry." We worked out a plan. Marcus would come back once a month for a full week to give me a break. Vanessa would take Dad every other weekend. We'd hire a part-time aide to help with daily stuff. We'd split the costs 3 ways. It wasn't perfect. It would never be perfect, but it was better. I moved into my own place in January, a small 1-bedroom apartment in Royal Oak, close enough to help Dad but far enough to have my own life. I took the Chicago job offer, which was still on the table, but negotiated for it to be fully remote. I started dating again. I joined a gym. I saw a therapist. I learned how to take care of myself while still taking care of the people I loved. It was harder than it sounds. I still struggle with guilt, with the feeling that I should be doing more. But I'm learning. Dad and I have a better relationship now, honestly. With boundaries came respect. With distance came appreciation. He tells me thank you now. Not every time, but sometimes. And sometimes is more than never. Vanessa's post is still up on Facebook. Every few months, someone new finds it and shares it. And I get a wave of messages from strangers telling me their own stories. Some of them make me cry. Some of them make me feel less alone. Someone created a hashtag #NOToServe. It became a thing for a while, people sharing stories about family caregivers who don't get recognized or respected. A few news outlets picked it up. I even did an interview with a local station about the importance of supporting caregivers. The whole thing was surreal. My private pain became a public conversation. I'm not sure how I feel about that, even now. But if it helped someone else feel seen, feel validated, feel less alone in their own family dysfunction, then maybe it was worth it. On what would have been Mom's 65th birthday, the 4 of us, me, Dad, Marcus, and Vanessa, went to her grave. We brought flowers. We told stories. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt like we were actually a family again, not the family we were when she was alive. That family is gone. But a new family, one built on honesty and hard conversations and the understanding that love without respect isn't really love at all. As we were leaving the cemetery, Dad stopped me. "Your mother would be proud of you," he said, "for standing up for yourself, for not letting us." He trailed off. "She always said you had the strongest spine of all of us." I didn't understand what she meant until you walked out that door on Thanksgiving. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just hugged him. Later, I asked Vanessa why she really wrote that post. What made her do it? "Because," she said, "I looked at my daughter that night and thought about what I was teaching her, about how to treat people who sacrifice for you, about what it means to be family. And I realized I was teaching her all the wrong things. I was teaching her that service is weakness, that gratitude is optional, that you can take and take and take from the people who love you and never give anything back." She looked at me with tears in her eyes. I didn't want her to grow up to be like me, like we were, so I had to change. And it had to start with the truth. The truth. That's what that Thanksgiving was really about. Not a viral post or a public shaming or a dramatic exit. It was about the truth breaking through years of dysfunction and denial and the lies we tell ourselves about family. The truth that love requires respect, that sacrifice shouldn't be invisible, that you can honor your parents and still have boundaries, that you can be devoted to your family and still choose yourself. The truth that I was never a servant. I was a son, and I deserve to be treated like one. It's been almost a year since that Thanksgiving. I'm okay now. More than okay, actually. I have my own life again. I have dreams that don't revolve around someone else's needs. I have a future that belongs to me, and on Thanksgiving this year, we're all cooking together. Everyone's bringing something, sharing the load. Marcus is doing the turkey. Vanessa's handling the sides. I'm making the pies Mom's recipe, the one she taught me, and Dad's setting the table. When I told him that's what I needed from him this year, he nodded. I can do that, he said. I should have been doing that all along. Maybe that's what healing looks like. Not a dramatic moment or a perfect apology, but small changes, different choices, the slow work of becoming better people together. I don't know if our family is fixed. I don't think families get fixed exactly. But we're trying. We're honest now. We're kinder. We're learning that the people who love you shouldn't make you smaller to make themselves feel bigger. And me? I'm learning that taking care of myself isn't selfish. That boundaries aren't betrayal. That you can walk away from people who hurt you and still love them. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to let them treat you badly. I'm learning that I was never a loser, never a servant. I was just someone who loved too much and expected too little in return. But I'm done with that now. I'm done being invisible in my own story. I'm done accepting scraps of respect from people who should be giving me the whole thing. I'm done settling for less than I deserve. And if that makes me dramatic, if that makes me sensitive, if that makes me difficult, good. I'd rather be all those things than whatever I was before, silent, accommodating, disappearing a little more every day. That Thanksgiving, my father recorded a video of me and posted it on Facebook with the caption, "Look at this loser. She was always a servant." But the next day, my sister wrote the truth, and the truth set me free. My name is Jimmy. I'm 29 years old. I live in my own apartment in Royal Oak, Michigan. I have a job I love, friends who support me, and a family that's learning how to do better. And I'm not a loser. I never was.